What's up, my dudes? So in this video, I'm going to be testing out the first-person camera in MXGP 3, so let's get a little good look at it, bro. I've rode with it probably a total of about, like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, so don't have just a ton of time with it, but I wanted to get on here and at least get a fairly decent idea on how it was in comparison to, like, your MX versus ATV, Reflex, first person, the PC, and on 360. I've had a lot of experience with those. Your first person camera with MX Simulator, which is fully adjustable. So it's kind of one of those that's a little bit different because you can say the first person camera sucks on MX Simulator, but you don't even have it actually set up right. But most of these arcade games, you can't really change how they're actually set up, you know what I mean? So you just kind of, you got what you got, basically. So now this right here, I do feel as if it is better than MXGP2 for sure. That MXGP2 first-person cameras, there was something on that actually gave me some level of, it just had something to it that it just made you feel sick. I don't know if I'm the only one that felt that, but MXGP3's first-person camera is definitely a lot better as far as that goes. Like, I don't feel super sick whenever I'm looking at this camera for a decent period of time here. So, but with your first-person cameras on, like, Reflex, the PC version was way different than how it was on 360. A lot of people, I feel like they don't even realize that sometimes. They always say, oh, Reflex first-person sucked ass, and, oh, you had to get that mod and stuff like that. And really, the first person on the 360 was actually probably one of the best arcade first-person modes I've ever seen in a game. Reflex's first-person for the actual console. It's bizarre that it would be so different, but I'm telling you, it's really different on your actual PC versus the console version. And I used to strictly play the console version of Reflex in first-person. That's all I played forever, and that's why I think MX Simulator came a little bit more natural to me in first person because I was already so used to playing motocross games in first person from Reflex. So now with MXGP3, obviously you can tell there's a floaty effect to it, and sort of there's times where it doesn't look super realistic, and you'll kind of go over a jump and it'll look like an arcade game does. You know, it's hard to make the first person camera look good if the actual bike doesn't even look, super realistic in comparison to like a simulator. I mean, obviously we're talking about arcade motocross games here. You always have to tone your shit down just a little bit. I'm talking to myself right now. You always have to tone your shit down a little bit, Spencer, whenever you're talking about an arcade game, versus a simulator. Like MX Simulator, it has all of the adjustments in the world you can think on the first-person camera. It's got first-person height, first-person angle, first-person field of view, and all that stuff makes a drastic difference with everything in the game, especially like the actual angle of it, where you can get it to where see, like right here, you're not even really seeing the front fender that much. You're really just seeing the kind of the handlebar pad and stuff like that. But like on MX Simulator, I have it set up to where I'm really only seeing basically the front fender. I'm seeing a little bit of kind of maybe the clutch lever and a little bit of that right there, but mainly all I'm seeing is the front fender, and that's how I like for it to be. And if you have your angle too far down or too far up, then it feels really weird. You got to get that perfect as well. And if you don't have your actual field of view properly set on MX Simulator, then it can make you feel like you're going way faster than you actually are, or going way slower than you actually are, It's kind of vice versa there, but this first-person camera is not horrible. I mean, I could see myself actually, playing in this first-person camera, and I know that sounds crazy when I say it like that, but a lot of them on arcade games, it's not even worthy of playing with it in first person, but this one's actually, for how the bike actually looks in third person and how the first person looks, it's not bad, dude. I'm telling you, it's actually not that bad. Like, you can get around without too much camera shake. You can ride wheelies all day long in it. It's it's fairly solid. So I mean, if you were wondering about that before you picked this game up, which I'm sure most of you guys have probably already picked this game up by now, but you know, if you haven't tried it in first person, or you have, or you didn't really know how it was in comparison to some other games, definitely better than MXGP2. I would say this is better than the Reflex first-person camera on PC, but not better than the one on 360. And obviously, it's not better than MX Simulator's first-person camera because, you know, that one's basically unlimited, and you can make it however you want to make it. So, but in just like a general sense, like, it's not bad. Like, whenever you go around the corners and stuff, it definitely has a natural slide motion, but you can keep your view where it needs to be. You can kind of keep your eyes where it needs to be. It doesn't like follow the bike too much and stuff like that, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't get too crazy in that sense as long as you're leaning properly. So it's definitely capable of, you know, you can kind of just slide around a corner like that right there. Or let me see if I can actually focus a little bit here and try to go a little bit faster so you can really see what the first-person camera looks like when you get going some sort of speed. I know the track's wet too, so I've got a little bit of slide motion going, but it's pretty fun popping wheelies in first person because it just looks insane. But obviously you're not going to be able to see as good whenever you hit some of the crazy rollers and the bike gets out of shape. It's going to just look ridiculous, and it does that on most first-person cameras. See, like right there, I hit some sort of gopher hole fucking kicker on the ground, and it just nearly launched the bike completely over. That's why you saw the front fender basically disappear, and I haven't had a whole lot of time with it to really be able to tell, like, the maximum I can pull up in a wheelie in first person. I don't really know, you know, what that looks like in this game. I just flipped over right there, but I haven't had just a crazy amount of time. Let me try to actually throw some decent sized whips. You can see whenever you do those whips and it like kind of weirdly comes back, that's when you don't really get a big enough jump to have a full motion with your whip, so it makes it look kind of weird. But if you get a big enough jump, it looks decent. Definitely not like obviously not like real life or even MX Simulator, but it's okay. It's just it's an okay first-person camera. I wouldn't call it amazing, wouldn't call it horrible. It's just okay. You know, it does the job, basically. So that's kind of my opinion on it. This track was probably not the best track to try this out on because there's basically like no jumps on this track. This is a pretty cool different track right here. It's the first time I've ever actually rode on it here. It's different than some of the other tracks. It's almost like a turn practice corner track or something, more so than a full-blown motocross track. So definitely interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of my opinion on the first-person cameras. I would say I'm a little bit more in the realm of like somebody that knows what they're talking about whenever it comes to a first-person camera. Because like I said, I mean, that's after I played Reflex for like the first year. On 360, I went straight to first person for like the next 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, whenever I say I've rode in first person on Reflex, like, I rode in first person. I didn't just go in there and try it for shits and giggles. Like, I rode that. That was the way I played Reflex for years, was in first person. So, I mean, I totally mastered that game in first person. So, you know, that's a lot of that, I think, is what made MX Simulator such a natural progression for me at the beginning in first person. I hear a lot of people say, oh man, I don't know how you play in first person on MX Simulator. And that's so crazy to me because it's like, to me, that's the whole point of the game. It's like, it's a simulator, you know, like that's the whole thing. It's meant to be played in first person. And I feel like these arcade games are meant to be played more in third person. But you know, a lot of people enjoy MX Simulator in third person, and maybe some of that is just they're so used to playing like Reflex and some of these other games in third person that it kind of weirds them out a little bit to play in first person. But I'm telling you, if you get the camera set right in MX Simulator, it's not bad, dude. I mean, you can get it almost looking like a real dirt bike, basically what you see in real life. You know, it's kind of hard to replicate something like that, but you can get it pretty close on MX Simulator if you know what you're doing there, and something that's comfortable to your eyes. You know, everybody's different on what they like. Some people almost have their first-person camera looking like this right here in MX Simulator, where you don't really see the front fender very much. You just see a little bit of it. and you're basically seeing more of the handlebar than the front fender. I know a lot of people that have their first-person camera set like that, but for me, I have it set where I'm basically just seeing the front fender and not a whole lot of anything else. I've just always thought they looked a little bit better like that, but either way, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.